stupidity of our government, okay? Ang ano nila, oh, China has now military base in our EEZ, etc. Ganyan. Malaysia has offshore military bases. And all of their offshore military bases, 5 of them, are in our EEZ. So what are they? Station Lima, which is in Swallow Reef, Station Uniform in Ardasier Reef, Station Mike in Mariveles Reef, is Station Sierra in Erica Reef, Station Papa, Investigator Shoal, or also known as Pawikan. So merong 5 offshore military bases ng Malaysia, and it's in our EEZ. So why are we not complaining about it? So bakit even Vietnam has a military base in our EEZ. Taiwan has the biggest naval base in the South China Sea. Actually belongs to Taiwan. It's in the Taiping Island. Why are we not complaining about it? Why suddenly we have to be threatened by China? Because the United States is threatened by China. Diba? Bigla na lang nagkaroon ng... Sumasabay kasi tayo sa Agos ni Kuya ni big white brother, you know? Kung matreten siya, matreten din tayo. So, Malaysia has 5 military bases in our EEZ. We don't complain about it. Why? Is it because we're not threatened by Malaysia? But I thought we want Sabah. So if you want Sabah, why are you not threatened that there are offshore military bases of Malaysia in our EEZ that's even near Palawan? So, ano yung rationale? Kaya nga, when you look at this issue deeper, you would finally recognize, I think it would be difficult not to say na, niloloko lang tayo ng gobyerno natin paulit-ulit at lalo na ng Amerika. Next. Okay, number 4. Arbitration decisions are only binding between the parties involved. Okay? Not applicable to Vietnam, Malaysia, of course, and Taiwan, ROC, rejects the South China Sea arbitration. Remember, Taiwan, ROC, and the PRC have the same claim because the basis of the claim of Beijing is from the ROC. It was the ROC who created it in the 1930s, the 9-dash line. So hindi siya binding, no? It's not binding out. Ganun ang arbitration. It's not binding outside the two of you. China rejects it, so it's only binding to us. So nobody cares. You know, kaya yung sinasabi ng Amerika, we will enforce, we will implement. Kanino nyo i-implement? Diba kanino nyo i-implement? Binding lang naman yan sa Pilipinas saka sa China. China doesn't want it. So it's only binding to us. Next. And finally, nabanggit ni Sir yung 9-dash line. According to South China Sea arbitration, China cannot claim maritime rights on the basis of 9-dash line. But, okay, big but, wag mo na. But, okay, pwede ba akong magsulat dito? Itong 9-dash line na yan, how many times have you ever heard China refer to 9-dash line in its statements?
0.
Never.
Never.
Never. Because this is American propaganda. You will never ever hear China refer na, we will claim everything in the 9-dash line. Never. Actually, China already submitted the limits of its territorial sea in the United Nations Secretariat a long time ago. And it doesn't include the entire South China Sea. So where exactly did this come from? This comes from the United States. And then we keep on repeating it. But when you look at the actual statements of China, it doesn't say na the basis of our claim is the 9-dash line. It's incorrect. Because kaya nilagay ko ditong but, okay? So that's how China's arbitration said na China cannot claim maritime rights on the basis of the 9-dash line. Totoo. Hindi rin naman sila nakiklaim na maritime rights based on the 9-dash line eh. But, paragraph 272 of the decision states, ito, basahin ko muna verbatimly, saka ko explain. Finally, because the tribunal considers the question of historic rights with respect to maritime areas to be entirely distinct from that of historic rights to land, the tribunal considers it opportune to note that certain claims remain unaffected by this decision. In particular, the tribunal emphasizes that nothing in this award should be understood to comment in any way on China's historic claim to the islands of the South China Sea. Nor does the tribunal's decision that a claim of historic rights to living and land-living resources is not compatible with the convention limit China's ability to claim maritime zones in accordance with the convention on the basis of such islands. Okay, it's such a mouthful. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Can we go back to the map? Yung So ano ibig sabihin nito?
Map.
Yeah, yung may mga claims.
Yan.
The next one. Yes. Okay. So ano ibig sabihin nun? China, just like Vietnam, claims everything. Okay? So ibig sabihin, walang karapatan ng China mag-claim ng maritime rights on the basis of the 9-dash line. But the decision says na nothing in the award should be interpreted to mean na walang karapatan ng China to claim historic rights on the basis of the islands themselves. Nagets niyo ba yung difference? Okay? So, ibig sabihin, hindi tapos. Hindi na-resolve. Okay? Kaya, wala yung 9-dash line, but the 9-dash line is ghost fiction. But the claim of China as well as Vietnam is based on historic occupation or whatever of the islands themselves. So ngayon, yung maritime rights na pwedeng makuha ng China is not on the basis of 9-dash line, but on the basis of the maritime entitlements of the features. Okay, dito na nagkatalo. Kasi the Philippines, everyone, before the China's arbitration decision, claims this as an archipelago. Ibig sabihin, it's a unit. Okay? Unit. So, pwedeng pakitanggal muna itong para makita nila. So it's a hindi pakitanggal yung So it's a unit. So ano ibig sabihin yan? Okay? So, let's say ito yung mga individual features, okay? Now, if it is an archipelago, it is one unit. Okay, like the Philippines, okay? We are one unit. So we can draw a baseline all over all our islands and determine our maritime entitlement from that baseline. Are you following me? Now, Marcos Sr. considered our claim over an archipelago. So the KIG is an archipelago. So it's a unit, you know, one unit. China's claim is Nansha Island is an archipelago. Vietnam's claim, ano bang tawag ng Trong Sa, Vietnam, archipelago. So lahat tayo, kiniklaim natin na iisa lang yung unit na yan. So why is this important? Because under international law, if it is a single unit, the fate of the principal features determine everything. So in terms of defense, I only need to occupy the principal feature, and then that would determine the fate of the rest. Parang ang Pilipinas, if someone invades us, they just need to invade key areas, and then that would determine the fate of the entire Philippines because it is a unit. South China Sea arbitration decision, hindi na siya unit. So, it's no longer a unit. No, you cannot so Marcos Sr.'s claim, yung PD 1596, I believe it's PD 1596, is not compatible with the South China Sea arbitration. Because PD 1596 is based on the idea that the KIG is an archipelago. The South China Sea arbitration says, no, this is not an archipelago. So ngayon, dahil hindi siya archipelago, ang maritime entitlement is no longer gonna be from the baseline of the entire unit, but from the individual features. Nagigets yun na. So kaya yung South China Sea arbitration, meron siyang ang dami-daming explanation kung anong status ng bawat feature under UNCLOS. Island ba yan? Rock ba yan? LTE ba yan? High tide elevation? Kasi all those features have different maritime entitlements. Ngayon, ang ginawa pa ng South China Sea arbitration, wala ditong islands. So all of them, yung mga LTE, mga high tide elevation, most of them are just rocks. So ibig sabihin, wala na. Let's see why nangyari. Wala na to. Yung ano ni Marcos Sr., wala na. Hindi na siya islands. Bato na lang siya. So, yung Pag-asa Island, that's not Pag-asa. That's not an island under international law. If we're going to subscribe, if we're going to accept the South China Sea arbitration. So those people are just living on a rock.
So, Sas, one important question at this point. Tinatanggap ng Philippine government yung arbitration. But China is not accepting it.
Vietnam is not accepting it as well.
So China can maintain its position that it's an archipelago.
Yes, just like Vietnam.
But Pilipinas can
no longer maintain. Nagets niyo ba kung bakit kagaguhan to? So ngayon, di ba, noong archipelago, binura ng mga Amerikano kasi sila rin ang so ibig sabihin nito, dati, noong Marcos Sr. time, we only need go to Pag-asa kasi malaki yung Pag-asa eh. Go to several and then we defend everything. Dahil hindi na siya archipelago. You need to defend individually.
So,
from our side.
Sinisuisin natin ang kaso natin.
So you need to defend individually. Kasi hindi siya archipelago eh. So ilan yun? 20. So yung 20 ng Vietnam, para masabi mong sa iyan, you need to take individually. Sabi ko, it's impossible na tatanggapin nyo yan. Pag tinanggap nyo yan, you have to change our idea of defending the KIG. Because during the time of Marcos Sr., alam mo yung ginagawa niya, you only need to occupy certain features, the principal features, in order to defend everything. Ngayon, Vietnam and China consider it as an archipelago. Kaya sila, they consider merong baseline all over it. And they claim maritime entitlements from that baseline. That's why China you can see China going to the different areas because that's a way to defend their claim.
So, yung alam mo yung pili ni Marcos, binase yun sa articulated doctrine,
Yes.
yung 200 mile limit. Hindi binase sa tinatawag na decision ba? Hindi yun ang base. Kasi ang 200 mile limit, sakop ang kalayaan part of the Philippine territory. Yun ang bas dyan. So, yung ginawa ni Marcos yan, impliedly, na-question ang right ng Malaysia na occupy ng territory dyan sa Calayan Islands. Kasi hindi sila adjacent sa 200 mile limit. Wala yung Malaysia. Malaysia, pinanganak lang ng 1994. Eh, nung pinanganak ng 1994, wala pa silang lugar doon. Pwede sila mag-claim sa 200 mile limit, diretso ba? Sa territory. Hindi pa wala sila. Parang bonus lang na hindi.
Pero that wala na yung PD 5096. We cannot maintain PD 5096 and accept the South China Sea arbitration at the same time.
Hindi.
It's impossible. Yeah.
Hindi tayo nag-ratify sa arbitration. Hindi natin nalambol yan kasi hindi nililigay sa China.
Yeah, exactly. Pero that's the thing po eh na I think they never realize what they are doing or the consequence of what they were doing. So ngayon, it's either the Philippines reject the South China Sea arbitration, which would actually embarrassing.
Because our lawyers were not Filipinos. They were Americans and British.
They have a different interest.
Sa isip nila yung KIG.
Yes. Kaya ang ano nila, kaya yung sinasabi nila na walang karapatan yung China magpunta dyan. Actually, that's very incorrect. Kasi it is still a disputed area. So if it's a territorial contest, you would do everything in order to assert your territorial claim. So that's the way that the China would do it. They would actually have more presence. And there's nothing illegal about it.
And since Pagasa is 308 nautical miles from Palawan, you cannot go to Pagasa without meeting a single Chinese ship.
Yes.
Because it's lampas na doon sa 200 nautical miles.
Ano nga yun? Even Vietnamese, there are a lot of Vietnamese ships there. Of course, and there's of course the naval base of Taiwan.
No bullying. There is just coexistence of ships there.
Actually, what's happening, kasi ang ano kasi nila, there's bullying. Well, there is bullying if they are in our territory. But they're not in our territory. They are in a disputed area. So what's happening here is not bullying. There is a wrestling. There is a wrestling. Na-outmaneuver ka. Can you imagine si Pacquiao nagrereklamo, binubuli siya ng nakakasapak sa kanya ng mas maano. That's preposterous. Pero kasi nga, ang mga Pilipino, gustong-gusto nila yung drama na, alam mo yun, nabubuli. Hindi ka nabubuli. Wala ka lang talagang lakas na makipag-agawan. And you are just, parang you are spending all your resources here. Meanwhile, the eastern part of the Philippines, na wala tayong territorial dispute, we're not developing. Kasi, bakit tayo nagkakaganito? It's because of the Americans. There's nothing else that we can say. Di ba yung Benham rice, nobody is even disputing our Benham rice claim. And we're not even doing anything in order to develop the Benham rice.
Kaya atin na yun.
Yeah.
By UN award.
It's never disputed by anyone, etc. And we're not doing anything. And then gusto natin, dito tayo, na parang, it doesn't make any sense.
Sabi ng hindi ko malaman kung ano na kaya sa Pilipino. In-include niya ang Taiwan sa joint venture agreement. Sabi niya, sabi niya, wala ka yan. Kaya ano doon, nasira doon si Aviation.
Yeah, pero I think kasi may gusto mag-develop din ng US-based venomous. Anyway, so ngayon, so to conclude, yung binagdidiwang nilang South China Sea arbitration, it actually created more trouble for the Philippines than resolved anything. So, in short, we actually paid for more trouble for our countries rather than resolve anything. Kaya nga